This episode of Chrisley Confessions 2.0 is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.com offers a wide array of hotels and vacation rentals across the U.S., so you can find exactly what you're looking for. There's something for everyone, even those who are impossible to please. Find exactly what you're booking for. Booking.com. Booking.yeah. Book today on the site or in the app.
Welcome to Chrisley Confessions 2.0. How are you today?
I'm well.
It's our first podcast since the holidays.
Yes.
So
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
2026.
We
Sounds
made
weird,
it.
doesn't
I
it?
know we made it though.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be like surviving the Christmas, surviving New Year's? And because, you know, we fought so hard to get back to this routine.
Yes.
And then you were like, oh my God.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. No, I'm super grateful for the holidays. I feel like our holidays were really low key, which was good. I welcomed it. I mean, I'm grateful for it. But I'm excited for the new year. You know, I'm excited to really, I feel like, okay, we made it through the first holiday season back home, and now we're ready to hit the ground running.
Right. You know, it seems like every day there's just that much more stuff that comes up that we have to deal with, that we have, you know. Now listen, it's all good things this time. You know, we're not having to worry about being indicted, going to prison, lies being told. Now the lies still get told, but you know, at least they're not about that.
Right.
But it's a busy that I had a friend say to me the other day, but Todd, you function best when you have 1,000 things going on.
Right.
Do you believe that?
Yeah, for sure. You're not, I think that's probably where our children get it. They're not very, you know, they always say what, idle
hands are the devil's workshop.
Yes, idle hands, the devil's workshop. And I do believe that. You do function better when you have even a little more schedule than what you have right now. I feel like you do better. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am. I'm very happy. I'm in a good place. You're in a good place based off of what I know. You know, you have folks, she's going a little bit darker with her hair. We've decided to do role play.
That's not true. You know, listen, it was a lot to come back from box hair dye, and you know, my hair seems to be this topic of conversation out here.
It is. It has drawn a lot of attention.
I'm going to be blonde, but we're having to take it slowly, you know?
But I'm not going to lie. I do kind of feel like I'm cheating when I'm with you.
Oh my
now.
God.
And it feels pretty good.
It's dark roots.
It feels pretty. Well, now listen, folks. It's not dark roots.
Shut up. You are horrible.
Well, I will just tell you, I have given her the challenge that you go gray, I'll go back gray.
Yes, we were talking about that. I'm not going gray. So it doesn't matter. You're not going to shame me. You're not going to challenge me. I mean, you're not going to try to reverse psychology BS on me. I'm not going gray. It's just not happening.
But why?
Listen, I applaud people who are secure enough in themselves to do that. I'm just not that person. And I'm being honest. I am not that person.
I was fine with it, but I mean, I was ready to
go gray.
But I said I was fine with it. I would be fine with it again if you want to do that.
Well, you know, just because I'm not doing it don't mean you can't
Julie,
do it.
people already think I look younger than you. I don't want to get gray hair and even out the score.
Oh, okay.
I don't want people thinking I'm 50.
Okay. Well, that's fine. But do whatever you want to do.
But you really don't think you will ever go gray?
No. I mean, no.
You don't think that's going to look silly at 70 and you're still the same hair color?
No. Because I'm going to try to have the same face. So if I have the same face, I might as well have the same hair color.
Well, I would say I was going to have the same face, but that's been 2 faces ago. We are just seem to be in such a good place now.
I think it's taken us a little time to get back into our groove, our rhythm of just everyday life. And, you know, we came back home to just different situations with all the kids. Everything is different. And so I think it's just trying to get back into that rhythm, because it's really just me, you, and Chloe on an everyday basis. Now, we had Gray here during the holidays.
And folks, it showed.
Which I love. So it was, and he and I went to California.
To the Rose Bowl.
Quick 3-day trip to the Rose Bowl. We had a good time, regardless of the outcome. Now, we all know that the score was not indicative of a good time, but it was a good time.
And you had a good time with each other.
We had a good time. I had a good time with him. We went out to a couple of dinners, and we went to the Rose Bowl, and we lost bad. but
well,
anyway.
I hung out with Chloe.
Yes.
So she and I did our thing.
Yes.
And we had a great time. And folks, I really want to have her on the podcast, because I feel like that she's 13 now.
Yeah.
And she has such a huge personality. I mean, her personality is coming out more every day.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it sure is, that teenage personality.
Yeah, because you know what she said to me the other day? She says, "Girl, don't try me." And what did I say to her?
This morning, I was like trying to tell her, I said, try to get your homework if you can, because they have time where they can work on that. Well, Mom, I don't know if I'm going to have homework. All you had to say was, okay, I'll work on it. But instead it was, I don't know if I'm going to have homework. Okay, well, really, I don't care if you do it or not.
But have you noticed that how when she gives you lip versus when she gives me lip?
Yeah, I do.
And what is the difference? There is a fear for life.
There is. Well, and but listen, I guess she's going to take her a few days to get back into the swing of things too, because she hasn't been in school. They've had their
But she's gotten lippy because she's 13 now.
Yes.
She's into this whole straightening the hair and blowing it out and going to her hair guy and makeup and this, that, and the other. And she says, well, I looked at her and I said, "You just had curl in your hair on Sunday. Why is it straight today? Stop putting heat on your hair." And she goes, "It doesn't." I said, "You have lost your mind. Who are you talking to?"
Yeah.
And you saw what she did.
Yeah, she spent the night with her friend, went with her hair curled.
And did not take a bonnet. None of that.
Right. So the next morning, I guess she had to she straightened it.
Which, I said we're not doing, because, I never wanted that whole heat on the hair to begin with.
But it is what it is. So we have to pick our battles.
I did yesterday at that door. When I told her, I said, people have died for less. People have died for less. You better take that tone down.
She has to be able to experiment with it. I get it. And it's going to be fun. We're not going to worry about
She asked me the other day, she said, "You know that thing that Savannah does right here on her eye that makes it with the black?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Yeah, it makes the little thing right here." I said, "What about it? Why are you asking?" She said, "Because I said, let me tell you something. You come out of there with a cat eye at 13, I'll dot the other eye." I said, "You're not painting on whatever the stuff is." Eyeliner. I said, "No, you're not doing all that. You're 13 years old."
No, she actually, we went and got her all new makeup for Christmas, Savannah. Yeah. We got all new makeup for Christmas because her color was off, because the makeup that she had was when she had a tan. So I kept looking at it thinking, it's not quite right. So I just said to Savannah, I think we need to get new makeup because it's not right. So Savannah goes, I get a bag this big, $750 later. And literally, it was a bag this big. But her makeup looked so good. And Savannah showed her how to do it, how to put it on. And her skin is beautiful anyway, so she doesn't need it. But, she's 13, so we're starting to delve into that world. And yeah, it is what it is. I don't know about you, but does most makeup feel like you're just chasing perfection? Do other brands cover up too much of your natural look? Do you ever feel like makeup makes you look like a completely different person? It shouldn't erase your face. It should bring out what you already love. And let's face it, we're not trying to look flawless. We're trying to feel good in our skin. I want my actual face just healthier and more radiant. And that's why I love Jones Road Beauty Miracle Balm. It actually enhances your skin instead of masking it with layers of makeup. I actually love the Miracle Balm because it replaces multiple steps in my makeup routine. It can be used as a highlighter, bronzer, blush, lip tint. It's the ultimate no-fuss multitasker. No brushes, no complicated routine. Just use your fingers and go. Give you that your skin but better glow in under 60 seconds. It's perfect for travel. It's great after a workout class or just when you're having a busy morning dropping off the kids. Every formula is packed with skin-loving ingredients. It nourishes your skin instead of clogging or caking. It looks and feels natural, like you're not wearing makeup at all. Jones Road doesn't just have their famous Miracle Balm. They've built a full line of effortless skin-first staples like their Just Enough Tinted Moisturizer, a lightweight, non-comedogenic formula that smooths and evens skin tone with a soft touch of coverage. It hides redness, looks natural, and feels like nothing on your skin. It's also packed with skin-friendly ingredients to keep skin moisturized without clogging pores. If you want makeup that brings out your natural glow instead of hiding it, Jones Road is the way to go. For a limited time, our listeners are getting a free cool gloss on their first purchase when you use code Chrisley at checkout. Just head to jonesroadbeauty.com and use code Chrisley at checkout. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. We're all getting older, and the world knows I have quite a few gray hairs. You know that moment when you spot your first one? It always feels like it comes out of nowhere. I remember seeing mine and saying, all right, I guess this is starting. And it's never just the color. Gray hair feels different. They're coarser, a little wiry, and they stand out from the rest of your hair. Some people pluck it, some immediately start searching for dyes, and some pretend it never happened. Even if you haven't had that moment yet, trust me, it eventually shows up for all of us. And here's the interesting part. What if you could actually slow them down and keep your natural color longer, while also getting thicker, fuller, shinier hair? That's where Array comes in. Array has revolutionized the way we think about gray hair. Their products are clinically proven to slow gray growth, support repigmentation, and improve thickness and fullness in as little as 3 to 6 months with consistent usage. I've been using this system myself, and I have genuinely noticed a difference. Fewer new grays coming in and healthier feeling hair overall. And here's how it works. Array targets grays from both the inside and the outside. Inside is their daily supplement, Not Today Gray. It fills nutrient gaps that can speed up graying and support melanin production, which is the pigment behind your natural color. It can even help grays grow back with more pigment. Outside is their lightweight, oil-free serum to the root, powered by Array's patented melanin complex. It helps slow new grays while supporting thicker and fuller hair. And timing matters. Even if you haven't spotted a gray yet, prevention works best when you start early. And trust me, it's coming. In Array's clinical study, 88% of users had less gray growth. Many also increased fullness, shine, and softer texture. Most of us have already invested in slowing signs of aging on our face. Array is simply the same idea for your hair, and more than 300,000 people are already using it. Most people cover grays, but you can actually slow the progression. For a limited time, our listeners get 15% off at Array by using code Chrisley at array.com. Just head to arey.com and use code Chrisley and you're all set. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you. So we are in the throes of the teenage world again.
Yes, I mean, but she is such a funny kid. She's got a good personality. She and I have a great banter back and forth. You know, when I asked her to do something, she's sitting there, I said, "Is today the day? Is today the day?" What? Is today the day that you want to die? Is this the hill you want to die on? Oh, girl, please. And when I start, like I'm walking that way, what does she do?
She's like, "Oh no, Dad, I know, I'm sorry.
No, I'm good. I'm good." So,
Yeah.
you know, I love her, and I mean, I've got a great relationship with her. lot of folks, have asked over the holiday season about the men and women that are still incarcerated that we were there with, and wanting to know how many guys have come home since I got home, because you have your naysayers out there. You have your people that, I post a picture of me and Chase working out as a joke to jab at Savannah. And then you have people commenting saying, what happened to your fight for the men and women that are incarcerated? Let me help you with that. Tell me why I need to give these men and women's names to the world. They deserve that privacy. I signed up for this. I have no privacy. But they don't.
Right.
But just so you know, 98 men from May the 28th is when we came home, from May the 28th until 3 days before Christmas, because yourself, they were still going home right up to Christmas. So 98 men with the help of Director Marshall and Rick Stover, who's the head of FSA. It has been a blessing to know that 98 of those men were able to be home with their children, with their wives, their spouses, their significant others, their moms, their dads, whatever. And I have received so many thank you letters that I have been sending, as I get them, I put them in our group family chat. And they are so heartwarming, from grown men that are talking about how they've been humbled and how they never thought that they would get home, and how grateful they are for me helping them. And I always go back, on all of my responses, the blessing was mine.
Right.
Because the blessing is mine, that God is using me in that favor. So for those that are wondering what we're doing, I'm still doing the same thing I've been doing. I'm just not taking the time to get on here and tell you every day who's gone home.
Right.
But just know they're going home, and just know that the Bureau of Prisons is now making a turn.
Right.
And, for that, I'm grateful. Okay, so folks, that I always try to update you on what's going on within the Bureau of Prisons. Well, now we have, Maduro, that is in Brooklyn, he and his wife.
Yes.
From Venezuela. So, some people are commenting that, they don't think Trump should have gone into Venezuela. Others are saying absolutely he should. Let's go on the record. For me, regardless of how you can say however you feel, I applaud President Trump for going into Venezuela and removing this man. The irony and the hypocrisy that is behind this is absolutely insane. There was a bounty placed on his head when Trump was in the office the first time. When Biden steps in, he increases that bounty. When Trump comes back in, he increases it and gets it up to 50 million.
Right.
And finally, he just said, when Maduro was over there dancing and basically saying, come get me, catch me if you can, Leonardo, Trump came. He fucked around and found out. So everyone's talking about, the oil, that this was done for the oil reserves and whatever. Doesn't have to be done for the oil reserves. People need to do their research and know that we were already over there drilling for oil when Maduro took over and threw our folks out and kept all the equipment that our oil companies put in and invested billions of dollars in. So I agree 100%. And when you look at what's happening in Venezuela right now and the people that are taking to the streets, these men and women, these families have been liberated. When you look at that...
well, hopefully it will bring money back into Venezuela.
It is.
And it will help their people to be able to be self-sustaining and to have a democracy where it can be ran the right way.
Exactly.
And not...
And you're going to get Schumer getting up there and talking his bullshit. Again, term limits. If you can only be a president of the United States for 2 terms, get the men and women in Congress, get their ass out in 2 terms. You don't get to go there and stay and build up, like Nancy Pelosi has, $300 million worth of net worth, making $200,000 a year. And the irony of that is that that's okay. We've become so desensitized to it that it's okay. And this, when you look at, again, going back to the Venezuelans here in our country, whether they're here legally or not here legally, I don't know. They're dancing in the streets. Because their country has been liberated. If we're doing something that China and Russia is opposed to, we as citizens of the United States of America should applaud it. Because if you think that China is doing anything for the benefit of our interests as a people, you're crazy. If you think Russia wants good for our country, you're crazy. The hypocrisy of Russia speaking out against the liberation of Venezuela and Trump doing this after they have gone in and done what they've done to Ukraine is laughable.
Right.
You know, when you've got China sitting here threatening to take over Taiwan every day, you know, doing test runs about, you know, their superiority or whatever. Nah, I don't give a shit what China says. I don't give a shit what Russia says. I don't care what Schumer says. I don't care what AOC says. I am all for what they just did of getting his ass out of power. Now, going back to that.
Right, you got off on a little tangent there.
Well,
so
it's
gonna go back.
I'm going to tie it all
BOP.
back together because I got off on that because of who the new guests of the BOP are. But now, as we all know, the BOP has literally, it is a circus of ass clowns for the most part. Now, on this journey that I've been on, I have met some good staff members. I have met some good COs.
Right.
And I'm dealing right now with more good COs that have come out, that have said they want to be a whistleblower, that have sent emails in saying this is not how it's supposed to go. But folks, I want to make sure that I'm on the record that no one can say that I am wavering on anything. The good does not outweigh the bad in the Bureau of Prisons. The majority is still pieces of shit. It's just that simple. You have now had a warden in Kentucky has been walked out in Ashland, Kentucky. Knew that was coming just by the way you talked. You've had a warden down in Estill, Hutchinson. She's been relieved of her duties. Sherry Salisbury was relieved of her duties. You've had all these wardens to retire over at Yazoo by December the 31st because they don't want to abide by the new way of running the BOP, which is humanely. So to see all these wardens getting handed their hat and told to get out does my heart good. But now I want to focus on some of these lieutenants. Let me explain to you a lieutenant in the BOP. A lieutenant is a glorified Barney Fife. They don't know whether to scratch their watch or wind their ass. The educational level is 1, 2, X3. That's what you got working there. That's your babysitters for these adults in custody that are so dangerous at these camps. Well, we have one in Montgomery at Maxwell. Now, I've already told y'all about the fat warden there, Fat Washington, otherwise known as Fat Albert. I understand that he does not like for me to call him fat. If you don't like for me to call you fat, make friends with Ozempic. He's upset because I've called him fat. So, Warden Washington, I apologize if you're offended and that it didn't get to you sooner. Now I want to get on to your other ass clown that you have working there, Lieutenant Hash. Lieutenant Hash. Clearly you've got something for me because you're bragging about me making you famous as you're abusing these men, Josh Smith being one of them, not the director of the Bureau of Prisons, but ironically an inmate there at the Bureau of Prisons in Maxwell under Warden Washington, who is allowing Lieutenant Hash to abuse these men, specifically Josh Smith. He accused Josh Smith of leaking information to me. And I don't even know who this Josh Smith is. But he planted contraband in his pod, and then he did that after he thought that this guy was telling me stuff, and then issues him 5 shots in one day. Well, I have reported this to the regional director. I have reported it to the deputy director. I have reported it to the director. that Lieutenant Hash needs to be placed under investigation. He needs to be walked off of his job pending the outcome of this investigation, because this is not the first time that he has been accused of planting contraband. Now, folks, it's hard for some people to believe that these men and women with the Bureau of Prisons, that because they put a badge on, that they're good, honest, decent people. Well, that's just not true. They're pieces of shit for the most part. You had one that was just, where was that? Is that Yazoo, or that you just read me the article on?
Yeah.
Let me just pull that up to make sure that all of us are on the same page.
Starting the year with a wardrobe refresh, Quince has you covered with luxe essentials that feel effortless and look polished. They're perfect for layering, mixing, and building a wardrobe that lasts. Their versatile styles make it easy to reach for them day after day. Quince has all the staples covered, from soft Mongolian cashmere sweaters that feel like designer pieces without the markup, to 100% silk tops and skirts for easy dressing up, to perfectly cut denim for everyday wear. Their wardrobe essentials are crafted to last season after season. Their Italian wool coats are real standouts. They're beautifully tailored, soft to the touch, and built to carry you through years of wear, not just one season. The quality shows in every detail: the stitching, the fit, the fabrics. Every piece is thoroughly designed to be your new wardrobe essential. And like everything from Quince, each piece is made with premium materials in ethical, trusted factories, then priced far below what other luxury brands charge. You know, I love my Quince. I have ordered from them multiple times, and every time it just seems to get better and better. My last Quince haul, I was able to get a new coat. I got a couple of sweaters, and I absolutely love wearing them. So refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Don't wait. Go to quince.com/Chrisley for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/Chrisley to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Chrisley.
There's a reason why we all at some point need Botox. Just like there's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law. For over 35 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people just like you and I. They have over 100 offices and more than 1,000 lawyers nationwide. Get ready, BOP. When hiring Morgan & Morgan, it's like hiring an army that has your back. If you're injured by negligence of another, you deserve to be paid. When you hire the wrong law firm, you may be beat before you start. All law firms are not the same. You hear me, BOP? If you are ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/Chrisley or dial #law, #529 from your cell phone. That's FOR thepeople.com/Chrisley or #law /#529 from your cell phone. This is a paid endorsement. It says all about prison. This was on Facebook, AAP. Mississippi, a former Federal Bureau of Prisons correctional officer, is now headed to prison after abusing his position inside a federal facility. Parker M. Triplett, 25, was sentenced to 15 months in federal prison for engaging in sexual acts with a federal inmate while employed at the Federal Correction Complex in Yazoo City, Mississippi. According to the Department of Justice, investigators with the Office of the Inspector General uncovered the misconduct in January of 2025. The case quickly escalated, and a federal grand jury indicted Triplett on April the 8th, 2025. Facing the evidence, Triplett pleaded guilty on June the 25th, 2025. Immediately following his plea, he was taken into custody by the U.S. Marshal Service, ending his career in law enforcement and beginning his time on the other side of the system he once worked for. Federal officials emphasize that cases like this undermine the integrity of correctional institutions and violate the trust placed in officers responsible for maintaining safety and order. Abuse of authority inside prisons is treated as a serious federal offense, regardless of rank or age. This sentence sends a clear message. Uniforms don't grant immunity, and misconduct behind prison walls will be investigated, charged, and punished. Now, all that sounds good.
Yeah.
Until you get to the part where he was given 15 months for sexually abusing an inmate who has no control over themselves.
Right. Yeah.
So no, he should have had the brakes beat off of him is what should have happened. But at the end of the day, this is going on more often than not that you guys are not hearing about because it's swept under the rug or always has been. But Director Marshall is not doing that anymore. Director Marshall's thing on this with the Bureau of Prisons is if you come in here and you put a badge on and you claim to work for the BOP and you treat a man and woman in our custody inhumanely, you will be fired. If you do something to harm someone, you will be brought up on charges. And so for that, I'm grateful that he's taking that initiative. But this Lieutenant Hash...
Because I feel like there has to be, it's almost like dealing with kids. There has to be examples made, and they don't have a problem on the other side doing that, trying to make examples of people.
Well, the whole purpose of you being in prison is to make an example of you.
So it needs to happen here. So I'm glad that they're taking that approach.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Right. So at the end of the day, Lieutenant Hash, I want to let you know, I have reported you. I have reported you for intimidating and threatening inmate Josh Smith. I have also made it aware now, based on the information that I have been given, that Josh Smith has now filed a report with the Bureau of Prisons about his threats from Lieutenant Hash and him planting contraband on him and his threat of speaking to me. And to show you how ignorant this man is, he thinks by me mentioning his name that his exact words were, I've made him famous. Famous in a bad way. There's a difference, dude. My way of making you famous is putting you in the unemployment line. So that's not going to work out well for you. Washington is just a disappointment. He should not be there. This is someone that should have never been given the ability to be a warden. He should be shipped out of there and sent to another he should be sent to the streets. But the BOP, they don't do that. They've not gotten up to that level yet of where they need to be. He'll be sent to another location. He'll be dropped back down to an AW to help him to learn how to be a better warden.
Right. And as his rehabilitation.
As his rehabilitation goes. But I'm going to be watching you too, Warden Washington. It is my understanding now that Dennis Proffitt, who was over the RDAP program at Pensacola, that the charges brought against him were sustained, which means they were found to be true that I reported against him. So he leaves the Bureau of Prison with a smirch on his record that he is no longer clean. He is an abuser. I am working on the class action lawsuit that our team has put together for these men. We're up to 314 names as of now. We hope to file that by March or April, which is why I love that we are doing advertising for Morgan & Morgan, because I can't think of a better team to turn loose on these individuals, because I want Dennis Proffitt and Mandy Ramsey and Sherry Salisbury and Janet Gentilat. I want these individuals sued personally, because now they're not with the BOP. So the BOP is not going to cover their litigation cost. So now, do they have anything? None of them has shit. But it will bankrupt them. It will put it out there in the press for the world to know what kind of pieces of shit they actually are and how abusive they've been to the men that was there when I was there. So whoever you are, Josh Smith, I hope to meet you soon. And I hope that the information continues to come to me about Lieutenant Hash, about the shaking down of your dorms, about Warden Washington not having someone there to open up rec, to let you guys exercise, to let you play ball, to let you do the things that you're supposed to be able to do at a camp. He's more focused on placing fencing up to try to keep contraband out. But the fencing doesn't work if your staff is bringing the contraband in. So, yeah, I know about that too. But so that's my rant on the BOP
Right.
today.
But I think the bottom line is you're continuing to work, you're continuing to uncover things, you're continuing to help those who are brought to you, whether it's, through more FSA or the FSA that they haven't been given that they've already earned, or halfway house situations, or just anything and everything, really. So I think.
And the sad part about it is that some of these men, when I give them the help, the staff retaliates against them.
Yeah.
Because they say, oh, you've been talking to Chrisley. Prime example, a young kid was self-surrendering yesterday at Montgomery. I'm helping him. And Copeland, who works for R&D there, was recorded talking shit about me in the parking lot, telling this kid he doesn't need to be there at Montgomery, that the RDAP program is full, that they're 6 or 8 months behind. I know you've probably been listening to Todd Chrisley's podcast, but just so you know, everything he says isn't true. Mr. Copeland at Montgomery and Maxwell, prove to me anything I've said about the BOP that isn't true. Because I've said a lot. And the Bureau of Prisons has not sued me, or nor have they gone on record to say that what I have said isn't true. He's out here quoting in the parking lot on tape that Congress has screwed them once again, that he's not getting fair pay. You're overpaid for the shit that you do because you don't do anything. You're just like 90% of the rest of the people that work for the Bureau of Prisons. You're lazy as hell. You come in, you close your door, you sleep, you stay on your cell phone, or you sell cell phones. But regardless of that, he's on tape now from a young kid self-surrendering for a 28-month sentence. And the first thing that he thinks to do is, so you've been listening to Chrisley's podcast?
That's crazy.
Now think about that.
That's crazy.
So at least we know we've got a lot of listeners in the Bureau of Prisons.
Right.
Because they listen every week to find out what I'm talking about or who I'm going to out.
Right.
So, I'm going to stay on top of what's going on at Montgomery. I'm going to stay on top of what's going on at Ashland, Kentucky. At Manchester, Kentucky, I'm going to stay on top of what's going on there. Talladega, I just got photographs last night to where the men are sleeping on the floor on mats. They don't even have beds for them. And they're sleeping on the floor. So I sent that over last night to the deputy director and to the regional director. Both of them were appalled. They were getting on the phone with the wardens. But this goes back to what I'm telling you about these wardens. The wardens are generally pieces of shit, because they get to that top office and they think that they can run roughshod over everything. Where do you think all the fraud begins? The wardens are the one who run these facilities. The buck stops with them. It's their budget, what they're in control of.
I've always said that with the BOP, that's the problem, because there is no buck stops here. Everybody's able to just run amok and do whatever they want to do. There's no accountability.
Exactly. But the irony of it is that you've got these wardens running these facilities. Trust fund is bankrupt. It's broke. They've scammed all the money out of there. Over $400 million a year since 2018, the BOP has screwed up for FSA, was not applied towards FSA. Instead, wardens used that budget, hired another secretary, hired another staff member.
Right.
So
I know where I was, there were supposed to be FSA incentives. Like you were supposed to be given, like, it was almost like a party, I think.
Right.
Literally, they would have 2 packs of off-brand hot dogs and some old hot dog buns and some chips that they confiscated from somewhere. Didn't do anything they were supposed to do.
But yet they used that budget for them to have cookouts for the staff.
Exactly.
To where they went and bought steaks and hamburgers and whatever from Publix or Kroger's, and they had team building experiences.
Exactly.
But yet they want to talk about how the BOP staff is overworked and underpaid.
Right.
I can tell you from my experience, There wasn't a staff member at the BOP in Pensacola that ever did a full day's work. No. Not a damn one of them, even the ones I liked. Not a one of them did a full day's work.
No.
They had more barbecues under Sherry Salisbury while she was scamming the budget, ripping out her office or painting, changing paint colors for her office. Now, prime example is like at Coleman in Miami. You've got these guards in there, lieutenants, bringing in phones, vapes, Suboxone, all of that. Doing all of that. And turning around here and selling it and then busting these guys with it who they sell it to so they can go back and get them again to sell them another one.
Yeah.
And the wardens know this stuff.
It's
they know it's going on. Folks, this just happened. The BOP is in the business of selling drugs, basically, or providing drugs, because they started all these men and women on Suboxone.
Yes.
To get them off drugs.
Yes.
Well, what they do is they become addicted to the Suboxone.
Yes.
Well, now these ignorant nurses and medical staff in the BOP who can't get a job anywhere else, got 3 teeth, who the hell wants a nurse coming in there when they smile, they're like a jack-o'-lantern? I don't have no faith in you. If you can't brush your teeth, bitch, I don't need you coming here changing my IV.
Right.
But you've got these women who got a little power now. I'm not giving you your Suboxone because you got a phone shot.
Yeah.
Against policy, you can't withhold someone's cancer medication because they got a phone shot.
Yeah.
You got them addicted to this Suboxone.
Yeah, that's a whole situation for me that I have tried, and I can honestly tell you that I tried my best to be open, and I've had conversations with women who are on the Suboxone. So for those of you who don't know, Suboxone is given to people who have been addicted to opioids. But it is such just... I can't wrap my head around it. Where I was, they would take women who had been in prison 3, 4, 5 years. The idea was supposed to be before you leave prison, they put you on this to help you so that when you leave, you don't start using again, because that's the greatest chance of overdosing because you've been off of it, you've been clean. But a lot of these women have been off drugs for years, and then they start on this Suboxone. And I had a conversation with a woman who I was in prison with, and I watched her from the moment that I got there. I knew her because our place was really small. You knew everybody. But I watched her go on this program, start taking Suboxone. I watched the life drain out of her eyes, out of her face. She became so thin. She became lethargic. It was horrible. I watched this person literally die before my eyes almost. And I tried to, because it's hard when you've never had a drug issue, because you feel like, okay, it's easy for me to say, how can you do that? Because it's not my vice, right? Just like somebody with weight or alcohol or cigarettes or whatever. If it's not your vice, it's easy to sit and say, well, how could you do that? Like, how could you sit there and have a drink? Or how could you sit there and smoke a cigarette? Because it's not my vice.
Right.
So I tried to be open-minded and say, but I've watched you. Like, I've watched you be this person full of life, was able to work a job, healthy looking. And now I see you and you're just a shell of the person. So how can you say that it's for the good? And it is so, and a lot of these women, I knew women that were on it that never even were addicted to opioids. They were meth users. Okay, well, that's not what it's designed for. But these nurses, again, these medical staff would say, oh, well, do you want to go on the MAT program? Do you want to start taking Suboxone? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Were you an actual opioid addict? Are you an actual opioid addict? And a lot of them weren't. But they, whether you want to call it weak-minded or whatever, they did it because it was a way basically for them to get high. Well, and because Suboxone is something, and you just said this, that's coming into the prisons. It's being brought into the prisons in the form of contraband. So if they're on the MAT program, they can buy more than what they're given to help them to stay high longer or whatever it does to you.
Right.
And they won't get in trouble because if you're on the MAT program, if you get drug tested, then you're going to test positive for Suboxone. They don't know how much Suboxone you've got in your system or if you've got the right amount. It is the saddest thing in the world. I've said all along, the BOP has now just become the drug dealer.
They're the drug pusher. And you and I said,
those girls, I watched them. They would literally be in that line after 5 o'clock count. If it was the day for them to get their Suboxone, the ones that were on the shot, they were there. Any other time, you never saw them. They'd sleep all day long. But on that day, honey, they were up there right after 5 a.m. count to get it.
Well, I mean, and this is what I've talked about with the BOP and what I'm going to be talking about this year when I go to DC. This is why I think it is so hugely important for there to be body cams.
Yeah.
Every staff member should have a body cam on. Right. And if that body cam is not working when an incident occurs, the staff member is written up.
Yep.
And 3 write-ups, you're fired.
Yeah.
Because that protects not only the inmate, but the staff member.
And this is my thing. If you are doing your job and you are doing what you're supposed to be doing and you are truthful and you should
welcome that.
You should welcome
because
that
it's
body
an insurance
cam.
policy for you.
Right. Because I think that there aren't some inmates that falsely accuse people? Absolutely, it's happened.
Do I also think that there are staff members that falsely accuse inmates?
Absolutely.
1,000,000%
So
that happens.
why would you as a staff member not want to have a body cam? That's just, I don't understand that.
But again, you're in the bed with me at night. You're in the house with me all the time.
Right.
The staff members that call me, that talk to me at all hours of the night. These are staff members that are concerned.
Yeah.
They are literally concerned over the policies and how ineffective the policies are and the fact that the policies are not being adhered to.
Right.
I mean, it's staff members that's telling me, that this nurse is taking people's Suboxone.
Yeah.
And I made the regional director, John Bartlett, aware of this nurse that was doing this.
Right.
And again, Montgomery.
Well, and I told you, I read the Matthew Perry book, the book that he did, his autobiography. And he was very open and honest about his struggle with addiction and with substances. And he said Suboxone was the worst drug he ever tried to come off of. Out of any drug he had ever done, God rest his soul, he said Suboxone was the worst drug he ever tried to come off of.
Yet we're pumping
it to them. And my thing is, and this is what I literally had the conversation with the same woman. I said, when you guys get out of here, you can't hardly get to the pill line on time. So you got to get insurance lined up and find a doctor and find somebody that's going to be able to, you're going to be able to get there. You got transportation. When you can't do that and you start withdrawing, chances are you're going to know somebody where you're going to be able to get those opioids from. And it just sends you straight back down this horrible path that you're trying to avoid.
That's right.
And it's very unfortunate.
It's sad. But, I'm looking forward to 2026 being a better year for everyone. Right. Not just our family, but for all of the people that we touch. Right. And when I say that, I mean every incarcerated individual within the Bureau of Prisons.
Right.
It breaks my heart that so many people message me. Every day, I get hundreds and hundreds of messages a day, and people begging for help.
Yeah.
But on a state level,
yeah, how
bad the prisons are on a state level.
Right.
That's a governor issue.
Yeah.
So now that means I've got to start networking to meet with these governors in the states that I'm getting flooded with all of this stuff. I mean, thank goodness I won't have to be meeting with Tim Walz in Minnesota because he has decided after all of the theft that's gone on there to no longer run for governor. So Tampon Tim will not be someone that I have to meet with. But it's truly sad. It's sad that our country's in the shape that it's in. So many people since our pardon and since Savannah has been so vocal in all the things that she believes in and that she's fighting for, we've kind of been pushed into this corner of either denounce the Republicans, or we're not going to talk to you, or we're not going to be friends with you, or we're not going to follow you. You know, we've seen a lot of that.
Yeah.
And
there's definitely been a shift.
Yeah. But my thing is that go with God's speed. If I post things that you don't like for your own mental stability and your own mental peace, don't follow me, because you should be following people that's feeding into what you believe in and what makes you feel good. I just think it's odd that so many people think that because President Trump pardoned us and because we're Republicans, that we believe everything that everyone else says that's red.
Right.
We've never done that.
No.
And you yourself know I've been sitting in rooms that's filled with Republicans, and I've said, okay, guys, let's just stop with the bullshit.
Right.
If all of us in this room were right, we wouldn't still be getting it wrong.
Right.
I've been sitting in a room full of Democrats and said, guys, stop with the bullshit.
Right.
If the way y'all believe was meant to work, it'd be working.
Right.
Because you've been singing the same song for 100 years.
Right.
Until we can get the red and the blue and stop saying red and blue and purple and I'm liberal, I'm this. Be human.
Right.
Be human. Show compassion until you can get everyone in a room.
Right.
And we can all be kind and have enough respect for each other to where this person can say what they want. As dumb as you may think it is, they have the right to say it.
Right.
As long as it's not infringing upon your rights or causing harm, they have the right to voice those concerns.
Right.
It's just sad, and what I really wish that people would look at is that pay attention to what you're being fed.
Right.
Because it's just like children. What we pour into our children at home is what they take out and plant seeds in the world with. Mm-hmm. So be careful what you're letting people pour into you, because you're going to plant that seed at lunch in a conversation with your buddy or your sister or your niece or your nephew or your child. Be careful of what you're allowing people to feed you. Don't be fertile ground for things that if you just take the time to research it, you know it isn't true.
Right. That's good. That's a good thing.
I think
and
so.
On that note, you and I are going away for a few days.
We are. She cannot keep her hands
We're
off
going
me.
west, a little west.
Yes, we're going a little west.
Yes. So we're excited to see some new places and just kind of venture out.
We're not going west to California.
Not that far west.
We're going west, but we're not going that far. So I am looking forward to that, because we've got a lot of business stuff that we've got to get taken care of this coming week and next week, and a lot of things that involve our future, and seeing things that you and I want to see that we haven't seen or experienced.
Right.
So I'm excited about that.
Me too.
But I like to travel with you. I don't like to travel like for extended periods of time, because I like to be back in my normal routine. But if it's just me and you, then I'm kind of good, because I know that you're going to stay in the same routine that I'm in.
Yes.
And so it kind of works out good.
Right.
You know, Savannah kind of set the internet on fire yesterday, or day before yesterday. I remember you sitting in the bathtub and saying, Todd, come here. And I walked in there and you said, you might want to look at your Instagram. And I go on there, and my daughter, who I love more than anything in the world, she has an opinion about everything.
Wonder where she gets that from, folks.
And from her mother.
Yeah.
But she's in San Francisco. We loved San Francisco. I remember going to San Francisco in 1986 or 87 and being there for like 10 days and riding the streetcars. That's when I thought I was going to be on Falcon Crest. And
then we went like in the early 2000s, took the
it was
kids
wonderful.
When they were little.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
San Francisco was a wonderful, beautiful city. And now it's just turned into a shithole.
Well, I just think it's speaks volumes because Savannah is pretty fearless and, shouldn't let things really get to her, and she can pretty much tackle anything that's put in front of her, I would dare to say. And it kind of stopped her in her tracks.
It scared her to death.
She was like, this is crazy. They were in a store just shopping like a regular store.
They were in a Target.
And just what she witnessed was crazy.
Let me just tell you what she witnessed. This woman comes up with boots on, and Savannah's there with her friend, and the woman has a Bowie knife in her boot. And she looks at Savannah's friend and she says, "Oh, don't worry about this knife. I'm not here to kill you. I'm just here to give you my So you won't tell the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth.
That's just crazy to me.
Folks, our sound guy is sitting here in a state of shock right now that I just said this, but that's exactly what the woman said.
I mean, she said there were people stealing. She bought somebody an outfit, I guess, to keep them from stealing it. Basically, the girl
woman
was
came up
like,
and said,
I'm going to steal this
unless you don't buy it for me. And Savannah said, no, don't do that. I'll buy it for you. And I told Savannah, I said, stay the hell out of these kind of cities.
Right. And I mean, she's like, there were people doing drugs. There were people running out of the store with stuff. Just craziness. Like she said, it's just crazy. I mean,
when you take a city like San Francisco, which I thought was, again, a beautiful city, and you allow it, like Governor Newsom has done, to become in that condition, it's sad. You were just in L.A. this past week at the Rose Bowl.
And I can
Grayson, now, folks, our kids, we've lived in L.A., we've owned multiple homes in Los Angeles, and I have loved L.A. since I was 18 years old. And I do still love my friends that are there. They've got beautiful homes. But Grayson, who really doesn't, when Grayson says something, it's worth listening to. Right. Grayson said to you what?
Yeah, it was just everywhere we looked, there were rundown buildings, empty buildings. Graffiti everywhere. The homeless were everywhere. And listen, we all know everyone doesn't get a fair shake. We know that there's things that happen to people that force them into situations. But, again, I do believe it speaks, like you said, it starts at the top. And when the governor is just allowing certain things to happen, this is what's happening to the state.
That's right.
And it speaks volumes in states like where we are in Tennessee, in Texas, in Florida, in Arizona, all these places that people from California are flooding to get away. So obviously everybody doesn't agree that what Gavin Newsom is doing is the right thing.
But listen, let's talk about that for a second. We have a lot of people in Hollywood that are in our phones, and they don't like Governor Newsom.
Right.
They are literally leaving the state of California, moving to red states because they said they don't feel safe living there anymore.
Right.
That the taxes are outrageous. That what they have the mansion tax now.
Right.
In Los Angeles. So what is it?
I don't know.
I think it's up to right after $5 million. You now have to pay a mansion tax on top of that when you go to sell your home.
Right.
She's going to make sure I'm telling you the exact
I don't want to say something's not right.
But you're basically robbing from the people that have so that y'all can squander it in government offices under the guise that you're doing this to raise money to help the homeless, but you got the worst homeless population of anywhere in the country.
Yeah. So residential and commercial properties valued over $5 million, they have to pay a 4% tax.
4%, $5 million or above. Now think about that, folks.
Which sellers of properties of $10 million and up pay 5.5%.
Think about that, folks. Where is that money going? It's not to help the homeless if the homeless population is increasing. If the homeless population is in worse shape than what it was before you had the mansion tax.
Right.
Where is it going?
Yeah.
You've got that Karen Bass, who literally looks like a cartoon character. You've got her out there talking about Hispanics that have joined or that have gotten a job with ICE, calling them traitors. if these men and women are Hispanic and they move to this country and they're legal, why would they not be qualified to work for this government agency?
Right.
Do you really think that the Hispanic community is happy that they had to go through legally the long drawn out process of becoming a citizen here and paying attorneys and everything that you got to do? Do you think they don't harbor some level of resentment towards the millions that are coming in illegally?
Right.
That didn't have to do what they had to do? That's just natural. That's human nature.
Right.
You and I feel that way about certain things in life. How did that happen? We had to do this to get to this, and they didn't have to do anything.
Right.
That's human nature.
Right.
So, California as a whole is some of the prettiest country in the world.
Yeah, it is.
But it's being ran into the ground.
Literally.
And that's so sad.
Yeah.
It's so sad. Although I hear Ellen and what's her name, Portia, they don't like my England anymore. So they're going to move back to what we're reading. They're going to move back to LA.
Oh, I don't know.
And then I saw last night where Rosie O'Donnell has put a filter on her phone because now she looks as young as I do. And she's still on a tirade over President Trump. And
well, with that being said, and we all know Todd's been on a tirade today. So
I have been on a tirade today, but it's just to inform everyone of what I'm doing. People want to know what I look at. People want to know how I feel about certain things.
Well, I don't think they will ever listen to this podcast and have any doubts about what you believe. No, not at all.
Well, next week on our podcast, we're talking about sex over 60.
Okay. And folks, on that note, until next week, good luck and God bless.
Wrap it up.